Yeah.
Might be the battery.
That,
Go ahead.
yeah, but that's how I do. Now people do stuff differently. You know, my way ain't. It works for me. It may not work for you. You know what I
Right,
mean?
that doesn't work for me because I don't like to leave projects incomplete like that. I heard you say, and I could be wrong, but this is what we learned in therapy, to repeat back what you heard the person say.
Mhm.
I heard you say you'll pick 4 things. You'll have a long laundry list. You'll pick 4 things. Just for an example, you pick 4 things off your laundry list.
For that day.
You'll start with one thing, and you'll allot a certain amount of time for that thing. Now, once that you've reached that time, if you haven't finished, you leave that as it is, and you go on to the next thing. So that's one thing that's incomplete. You started it, but it's not finished. So then you go on to the next thing. If you don't finish it within a minute, that amount of time, then you leave that incomplete and go to the next thing. So if you do that for all 4 jobs, you got all 4 jobs started, but nothing is complete. So
Okay.
when are you going to go back and complete that?
Now here's the thing.
Next day?
Now here's the thing.
And you still got this laundry list of things?
Now here's the thing. Now here's the thing with that right there. Each project that I have, it's a guesstimated time, because depending on the complexity of the task determines the time. Now I may look at a project and say, oh wow, this project is going to take 3 hours, so I'll give it 4. I may finish it in 2. And so forth and so on. So it doesn't, because I say that it's incomplete or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's incomplete or anything like that. It just means that probably I ran out of the time, or I miscalculated or whatever. But the thing is this, I always give an assessment. You don't never say, okay, that right there is I'm trying to think of a perfect analogy. Anyway, I just feel like this. If I look at a project, and for me, knowing my skill set, and depending on what the project is, I'll look at it and say, oh, that'll take 30 minutes. But then I'll say, you know what? I'm going to give it 35, because I know things don't always go according to plan. Now, some tasks may take longer than others, but the majority of the stuff that I do, it doesn't even require like an hour or so. So I'm already knowing that when I go into a project, that it's not going to take that long, because I didn't already sized it up and I already know what I got to do. Besides, if it's repetitive, if I keep doing the same thing every day, I'm going to find ways to manipulate the time anyway to make it faster. I'm going to come up with innovative ways. I'm going to come up with shortcuts. I'm going to come up with creativity to create a situation where I could get this out the way and move on to the next one.
So the question was, what do you do with those projects that you left incomplete because you
The
ran
thing
out
is
of
this.
time?
The thing
That's
is
the
this.
question.
All your projects, you're not gonna run out of time. You're not.
So the
Some
incomplete
projects,
one, you gonna go back if you
after
have
I do,
time,
after
then you're gonna
after
go back
after
and
I
go
do
back
my
to
after
that
I do my projects, because I'm only gonna do 4. I'm only gonna do enough where I can handle, because I know it's so many hours in a day, and I know I have to be fresh for other things. So with those 4 things that I have, the one that requires the most time, that probably would be the last one for me. It probably would be the last one, but like I said, I give an estimated time on everything. It's like when you're traveling and you're looking at your navigational system and you're trying to go somewhere, it gives you an ETA, an estimated time of arrival.
But you continue to keep not
That's-
answering the question.
The question
was, what do you do, or when do you go back and complete those projects?
The
that were
project,
incomplete?
because there's so many hours in a day, and I already set the hours on how much time I'm gonna put on each project. It's not gonna be 24 hours. It
If
may
you
only
don't
take.
complete it, when are you gonna go back?
I'm gonna
and
go back
complete
once
it?
I completed that last
The
thing.
next day?
No. Here's the thing. I got 4 items on my list. If the first one is incomplete, I go to the second one. The second one's gonna be done. The third one is gonna be done. The fourth one is gonna be done, because I'm gonna do it. I'm
So
gonna
then you'll go back
prioritize
to
it.
the first one.
Once I finish those 3 right there, because I'm gonna get my task done. then I'm gonna go back to that first one and complete, because you've been working on it for so long already, and you're so close to it, that it ain't gonna require that much more time. If it is, then that means for me, that means you took on a bigger project than what you expected.
So I think the bottom line is we both need to be respectful of how we want to do certain things in our lives as far as our businesses or tasks or whatever. So if what I do works for me, I think that you should let that work for me. And if what you do and how you do yours work for you, I think I should let that work for you. And not try to get you to change how you do things the way that I see it. I think that you should do it like this, because the way that you just explained it, that's fine if that works for you. But for me, I would say don't go on to the next project until you've completed that first.
There you go. That next project.
So don't say, well, I ran out of time, so
Okay.
now I gotta go to the second thing. No, if you ran out of time, that means you didn't allot enough time. So whatever much more time it takes you to complete that first one before you go on to the second one.
Well, then,
that's just the way that I see
well,
it.
then there's
so,
no
but
such
I don't
thing.
want to put on you
Yeah.
what I
Well,
think
that's
or
not,
how I should do it.
That to me, then you shouldn't multitask. You really shouldn't. Because what happens is this: you'll mismanage time every single time. You shouldn't. There's no such thing as multitasking. When you multitask, naturally you can only spend so much time on one item before you go to another one. See, that's multitasking.
No, multitasking is when you do
Doing
more than one thing
exactly.
at the same time, or spontaneously together.
Exactly.
That's multitasking.
Exactly. That's why you shouldn't multitask, because your multitasking is causing you to spend too much time on one thing. So now when you finish that, you may take because people's level of perfection is different from others. I can sit up and say, "Oh, I don't like this," or artistry, for instance. An artist will draw, and then a person will come along like me and look at it and be like, "Oh man, this is dope right here. This is really nice. How much? Oh, it ain't finished." Yada 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 yada. To the untrained eye, I'll say it looks beautiful. It's whatever. But the artist, he sees something different. Not to really understand that at the end of the day, he just gonna get an art away anyway. He's gonna sell it off anyway. So what difference does it make to him in terms of an eyelash is missing or an eyebrow is out of place? If the eye of the beholder doesn't see, or he sees the perfection in it, then who are you to, even though it's your project, to say that, I don't like this right here, so I'm going to scrap it. But the next person, they found the beauty in it and they wanted it, but because it wasn't right to you, because you seen the little imperfections that other people ain't even going to really trip off of. But that's just how life works.
Okay, so to sum it up, what are your conclusions as to how we can get past this continuous issue that we have in our marriage?
The reason why it's a continuous issue.
I didn't say the reason why. Well, let's sum it up, because we've been talking for quite a time, and you're going to be having to get time ready for work. See? Now, what gesture was that?
Once again, here we go. I think what works for me is this. What works for you is that. But now, I think you should. Now you're telling me something, I'm finna bring it to a close, and that's where I think that's another thing we should really talk about too, in all honesty, because to me that's rude.
It was rude for me to say, let's sum it up. I said, let's sum it up.
Come on, hurry up. Chop, chop, chop. It's the undertone. It's not what you said. It's what you implied, the undertone. And we both know. So let's not do that to each other. Because I know what you mean. Hurry up, you're rambling. Blah, 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 blah.
No, I just want you to answer the question so that we can sum it up. I
Okay.
said, well, let's sum it up. Okay, so I'm going to let you sum up what we need to do so that we don't have this continuous issue.
I think because we have an issue because we're not structured. Because we just move. We're not structured. We don't set it. Like I got a work schedule, right? I know at this time I go to work. I know that this time I take a break. I know this time I come back from my break. I know this time I go to work, and I know this time I get off. So everything is structured like that. You know what I mean? And I think it would be good to just create a schedule.
Okay, so I'm gonna create a schedule, but I'm gonna let you know right now that once I create my schedule, just like you work from 12 to 12, my schedule is gonna be like that. And it's gonna include the days that you have off. So
your
during
work days
those,
is your work
right,
days.
so during those days, it shouldn't be, or I hope that it's not, well, you're not spending no quality time, because now I have hours set for my job, and it's gonna take up the majority of the day during your off days. So what I've been doing, okay, even though you saying it's been doing, it's like that anyway, since we've gotten married, and even before we got married, because I'm a hairstylist, and most of my work comes in on the weekend, Fridays and Saturdays, I've reconstructed my whole schedule where I have not worked on Saturdays since I don't know when. I can't even remember the last time I worked on a Saturday. On Saturdays, I'm spending with you, or we're going shopping, or we're doing some other stuff like that.
Don't do that.
I have not done hair on a Saturday in over 6 months now.
That was your choice,
So
not
now,
mine, because
right,
you don't spend
right.
every Saturday with me. You don't.
So what am I doing on Saturdays? Because I'm not doing hair.
Depending on what it is. If the kids need to go somewhere and do something,
Okay,
you're
I
doing that.
didn't say that.
If you-
I said
but
I haven't scheduled an appointment to
That's not
do
on me.
hair
I don't
on a
know.
Saturday.
I don't
So
know.
now you're saying get a set structure on a schedule. So if I go back to doing hair on Saturdays, then my whole Saturday is done. The whatever we was doing, whether it was with the kids or whatever,
If you do
I
hair,
won't be doing that because that's going to take up the majority of my day.
It's not going to take you 12 hours to do a head. You're not going to do 5 and 6 heads a day because you don't do it and you haven't done it. The most I've seen you done was 2 heads in one day, and it don't take 24 hours.
Right, and what you're not understanding is that's because I've been limiting myself.
I don't have nothing to do with it. I never
I know.
asked
I
you
didn't
to do
say.
that.
I didn't say that you did.
And I didn't
said
notice it, to be honest.
I know because you don't know the before. You don't know the before. You only know from when we've been together. So you don't see the before. So I'm telling you
let's do this
this
right
now
now because I feel like you kind of like a little tense right now. Because you're getting real animated, and you to me I could be wrong, and you speaking like with an attitude after you ask me my opinion about something and what I feel about something.
No, you said
Now I
the
feel like
the schedule. So I'm just trying to prepare you
asked me.
that when I get this schedule together, I don't want you not to like the schedule because I'm telling you what the schedule is going to be like.
That's your schedule. That's your schedule.
Okay.
And then you know you and
So
since
we're going to
when you
come
do your
back
schedule,
after I do the schedule, and we're gonna revisit this situation, and we're gonna see
because
how
you
you
know,
feel about the schedule once the
the
schedule
cold part
is
about
done.
it is because you know you're gonna create a schedule, a business schedule, but you know you still have to incorporate your lifestyle in with that.
I'm
so
gonna
don't
do
make
it the same way,
it's
but the
gonna
only
make
thing
no
is
end all
that
be all. When I make this, that's what it is. So if I work from 8 o'clock in the morning till 1 p.m. in the morning, you can't say nothing because that's my schedule.
well, that's what you asking me to
No,
do
because
to
you know,
make the schedule.
listen. When you
You
make the
asking me to
schedule,
make it a
I want you
schedule.
to be, when you make the schedule, I want you to be realistically about the hours and factor in everything. Don't just factor in, you know, I'm doing this. Factor in you still a wife, you still a mother, you still a grandmother, you still have other things that, you know what I mean, that require your time. See?
That's the part that I'm saying. Once I factor in the 6 jobs that I have, the 7th job being a wife, the 8th job being a mother, the 9th job being a grandmother, that's 10 things right there. By the time I factor all that in a schedule, I don't understand where this other time is.
No, I'm saying this is
not going to be any other time
Let me-
for anything else
okay.
because it's only so
Listen
many.
to this.
Even if I just and plus sleep.
Let me explain
Right.
this to you.
So once you
let me
take
do this.
sleep
Let me do this.
and
Let me do
incorporate
this.
sleep
How
in
many
it,
hours
there's
is it?
not any hours
listen
left.
to this. Listen to this, then. Listen to this. Just hear me out. Don't interrupt. Just listen. How many hours is it in a day?
24 hours.
It's 24 hours in a day. Now, how many I work for? Let's take 4 days right now. Let's just take my 4 days. Out of those 4 days, how many of those hours out of the day I work?
You work 12 hours.
Okay, I work 12 hours. Stop right there. Now, when I come home, I shower and I sleep, right? That means you up. Or, I mean, you know, or sometimes you change your schedule to lay in the bed with me. Right?
When I should be working. But that's another option and supposed to be. But it's not quality time.
But look though, you say that. You say that. You
I
did
say
that.
What?
I lay in the bed because of you. I do this because of you. Thank you for taking under consideration my feelings
right,
in
because
that
it
area.
was an issue
But the thing is though, no, that wasn't how it all transpired. See, things get mixed up, and I don't want to argue with you about that type of stuff right there because you know what I mean. It's like it's
so
not.
Why did I start laying down then longer with you?
Because you was tired from staying up all them hours working on your YouTube channel, doing all that other stuff.
That's why I started staying
That's
up
why
there.
you.
So
that's
when
why
we
you
were meeting
because
with
you
Chaplain
sleep.
T, there was never an issue that she gets up early in the morning and she get out of bed and leave and.
You brought that. You said all that stuff. That was your stuff. The stuff that I told you that I didn't like that you do, I said the first thing that you do in the morning when you get up is you look at your phone. You don't say good morning. You don't do any of that stuff with me.
But remember, he comes home at 5 something in the morning.
I come at
so if
5
I
in
look
the
at
morning.
my phone at 8 in the morning, would I be waking him up to say good morning if he been asleep for not even 3 hours?
Listen, when I come home, Tanya, when I come home, you up. Half the time when I come home, you up already. You've been up all night. You go to bed when I come home sometimes. Sometimes when I come home, you sitting there with the light bright and I'm looking at you like
been asleep and woke up.
Again, so you can't say you doing stuff for me.
Anyway.
That's what you do. No? Am I wrong? You not up sometimes when I come home?
I'm not saying that I'm not up, but the question or the issue was,
right.
Am I staying in bed longer because of you or because I'm sleeping, I'm tired? But you
it may be a combination of both.
You just said the first thing you do is wake up and look at your phone.
Yeah, if you, I think it's a combination of both.
So basically, you want me to wake you up, or as soon as I look at my phone, before I look at my phone,
Listen,
wake you up and say good morning.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Period. Point blank. You know I'm up. I just got home. I'm not gonna fall asleep in no 20 minutes. Nobody ever does that unless you just extremely tired.
So say good morning then. I'm not getting the good morning part because this is after you done came home and laid down and went to sleep. Because I'm looking at my
now
phone
you're trying
at
to
like 8
confuse
o'clock
stuff
in the
because
morning.
now you're trying to be, you see, that's what I don't like about you. Because you're trying to flip it. And that's not what I'm saying. And I think you know that.
You just said, I've been asleep only 20 minutes. I've been asleep. Now you...
Go back and review the film.
What did you just say?
Look, I'm trying to explain this to you right here. When I come home, you know what I mean, and I get in the bed, sometimes you be up. Most of the times you up already.
Okay.
You up. Mm-hmm. So I come in and I do my little shower thing or whatever, and I lay there and we may chop it or whatever, then I'm gone. You may be gone. You not in the bed because of me. You not. You in there because I feel like sometimes you exhausted because you are. You get up at 4 in the morning and work all the way till about, I don't know, 12:30 at nighttime. Not that, I mean, you know, you got vampire hours. Your hours is, I don't know. I just feel like this right here, man. That if you structured something, you know what I mean, and you organized it to the point to where you can, you know, do what you need to do or whatever, then you wouldn't have no incomplete projects. Because if you got an incomplete project and you started on that project at 5 and you didn't finish till 9, I'm quite sure you didn't even think that it was going to take that long. Then that means you're doing something wrong. You spending too much time on something. You over analyzing and overthinking something. I don't know. I mean, to me, that's what it seems like. You know, you spend
It's
too
not
much.
fair to judge how
I ain't
long
judging.
it takes a person to complete anything of a job that you haven't done yourself.
How long have you been doing? Let me ask you this.
Being a-
How long have you been doing what you've been doing? Just ask me that. How long
What
have you
job
been doing?
are you talking about? Are you talking about all of them? Because I've been doing a lot of jobs for a lot of years now.
Okay, now how long you been doing your hair job?
I've been doing hair over 10 years.
Okay, how long you been doing this video stuff?
I've been doing videos for about 3 years.
For 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so out of that 10 years and that 5 years, I mean, you know, because now I consider you an expert. You know what I mean? And I know some things may, you know what I mean? But you haven't figured out a formula or anything yet to try to make it that much easier or quicker or nothing? Because I know when I work a project and I see complexity and stuff like that, the first thing I try to do is find out how to do it easy. I don't want to do it harder. I want to do it smarter. You know what I mean? That's what I focus on. That's because I know everything is based on time. Everything is based on time. If I know I got all this stuff to do, why would I want to spend all this hours on this? Or why not make it the last project, since it's going to require the most time?
I just was starting off by saying, I don't think it's fair for another person to judge how a person does a job that they've never done before.
You right?
It would be unfair for me to tell you how to do your job at work that you do for 12 hours when I've never done it before.
What makes you an expert?
So
What makes you an expert?
for when you're insinuating,
Mhm.
oh, you've been doing this for 3 years, you should have already then found a way to basically make it easier and make it better, where you don't have
When
to
you
spend
do
that
stuff,
much
when you
time
do
on
stuff,
whatever.
because your
Okay,
experiences.
well, obviously I
Listen,
haven't got it down to
but
that
listen,
because
because
you're
your
doing a
experiences-
YouTube.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't
You're
pay
the-
anybody to do anything.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about recording. You don't
Yeah.
know anything about the editing. You don't know anything about me having to figure out a title or a thumbnail or any of that. All that
After
is
three
you're
years,
uneducated about
after
that.
3 years, you become an expert at it. You've been doing
That's
it
your
every day.
opinion. You
You've
got
been doing it
people who
all
have been
day,
doing it 10
every
years
day.
and still not an expert at it.
All
So
day,
you can't say
every
because
day.
I've been doing it for 3 years, now I should be an expert.
I mean, if you do
Obviously,
something,
that is not true.
if you
and
do
how
something,
could you come up
if
with
you
that
do
judgment
something-
when you know absolutely nothing
you,
about
that's
the
where
subject?
you're wrong, because I know everything about. I know a lot about editing and cutting and shit like that. I do know. I do that from being a DJ, from mixing records and shit like that.
This
Only
is
thing is,
not the same or whatever it is you talking about.
it is the same.
It
You're
is
not,
not the same. Have you recorded yourself with editing?
Listen, you an expert. You an expert.
Yes,
What makes you a
said-
pro?
You
when
said,
when
I
you
never
talk to your
said I
clients,
was a pro.
well,
I never said
well,
I
then
was
you
a
shouldn't
pro
be
or
in the-
expert.
Well, you shouldn't be in the profession. Man.
Okay, well,
if you're
that's
not doing
your
it
opinion.
to educate yourself and to become better, because that's
You
what we do.
said
We
I
always
am a
advance.
pro, and I just said to you, I'm not a pro, and I don't consider myself a pro. You saying because you've been doing this 3 years, you a pro. No, I never said that. That was your assumption, not mine. I'm not a pro at it.
I feel like
I'm
this.
nowhere near
If
being
you've been
a
doing
pro.
the same thing
That's
every day,
your feelings.
if you've been, that's what I said. I
That's
feel.
your
That's why I said
feelings.
I feel. So, if that's the case, then you shouldn't put yourself out there until you become an expert at this. That's why we look at tutorials. Listen, we look at tutorials
and
all
they
the
are
time.
not experts.
They are. That's why they're giving you their opinion. That's why they're giving you the shortcuts. That's why they tell you.
We
they
doing
giving
this
you the
video
knowledge.
right now. We're not an expert at
We're just
anything.
giving you knowledge. You have a little knowledge of it.
Okay,
you
but
have
that's
a little
not an
knowledge of
expert.
it.
That's not
It's
an
not, but
expert.
you have information.
Okay, but that's not an expert.
listen.
You just said you shouldn't
Look,
do it and you
listen.
shouldn't put it out there unless you're an expert.
Unless you're an expert, because you can cause harm.
Okay, well
You
then
can-
we
you
shouldn't
can
be
get
doing
people-
this because we're not experts. Is that what you're saying?
We practicing, we becoming that. That's why we doing it. So when we become experts, you gotta practice at it. You gotta do something, and we've been doing it for
But
so
you
long.
just said
Listen,
don't put it out
listen.
there unless you are an
Listen,
expert.
we doing this.
That's
Well, I meant, well, that's
contradiction.
not what I. That's not what I meant. What I meant to
that's
say
what
was
you
this.
said.
Well, that's not what I meant. Let me clarify that. This is what I mean right here. If I'm doing this every day for 10 years, and I still haven't found ways to make it easier for me, so I can get more content and do more stuff that I need to do in this realm right here, then I don't need to be doing it. Because why am I doing it? Am I doing it to get better? Am I doing it just to be doing it? Or why am I doing it?
My opinion is
You know what?
sometimes
We're not gonna.
20 years
Look.
to
We gonna
become
say this.
an expert
We gon'
or
we
pro
gon'
at
we gon'
something.
we gon'
Some
be
people are
doing this.
30 years. It could be a lifetime.
But that's that
before you
experience.
become a
That's that
pro
experience.
at
So that
something
means
or
that means
expert
they-
at something.
that means they
but
do
that
it.
doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it because you're not a pro and you're not an expert.
So
within 10
so-
years you should
so-
be an
so-
expert
so-
if
so-
you've been doing it every day.
Mostly-
because things
mostly-
change and it's always something new
Things,
to learn.
exactly,
So I don't
and I
understand
agree,
this
and I agree,
expert at something.
and I agree wholeheartedly with that. What I'm saying is this: the more you work at something, the better you become at it, and then that's when you can put whatever it is on it. So if you've been doing this for 10 or 15 or 20 years, if you ask me, you're an expert because you've experienced everything within those 10 or 20 years. Nobody can come to you and say, hey, and it'll be foreign to you. Be like, oh, I ain't never. I mean, I'm saying it's huh?
Go ahead. I don't think that that's true either. Just because you've been doing something for 10 years,
Here's
can't
the thing.
nobody come to you and say something
Here's the
else
thing.
that's new that you never heard of.
You because out of 10 years and you've been doing this every day, there's nothing. I mean, there's always exceptions to the rules, but there is nothing a person that can say to you that you're not familiar with because you've experienced it within that 10 years. It's just like when you go to.
It's not true. I just do not agree with that.
I mean, you don't have to agree with that. I'm not telling you to. I'm just saying, for me, there is no way on this planet.
Please comment below and let us know what you guys think about that actual comment that
Yeah.
he just made.
Yeah.
If you're in a profession or anything for 10 years, nobody can come to you and tell you anything that you have not heard because you've been doing that for 10
and I
years.
said there are exceptions to the rules, but if you've been doing something, if I've been cutting hair for the last 10 years straight, I'm cutting hair. That's what I do. You know what I mean? There is nothing a person can come to me with a style and say, hey, can you do this? Can you do a fade? Can you do a triple fade? Yeah, I can do a triple fade. Yeah. And I'm giving tutorials on it. That's why we look at the people on the YouTube. They've been studying this craft for so long that the information that they got, now they're giving it out because their experience and the time that they spent with that project allowed them to give out the information in order for other people to grow and become successful because they studied that. That's why that's his experience. That's their experience. Their experience gave them this. So if I come to them and be like, well, hey, how do I connect this and that and the other? The first thing they're gonna do, oh yeah, this is a whoopty whoopty whoop whoop whoop, and this is how you do it. Just like we're looking on this thing right now, with this this thing.
That doesn't matter. I don't
No,
care
no,
if
no,
you
no, no,
cut
no, no, no,
hair
no,
for
I'm
10
saying
years
this.
or 20 years.
I'm saying
There's
this.
always something new coming out.
It
There's
is.
always new
It is,
equipment
but
and
they
styles
improving-
and everything.
they improving
So
on the old
those
stuff.
10 years that you
They
didn't learn
improving
how
on
to
the
do
old
this,
stuff.
it's another whole 10 more years of new
Listen,
stuff that
listen,
came
you
up
know why?
that you may not even be
But-
familiar
but-
with.
but
I
here's
know
the
that
thing.
from firsthand because I'm a hairstylist
Here's
and I've
the
been
thing.
doing hair for over 30 years.
Here's the thing.
And it's still
Here's
new
the
stuff.
thing.
I can't say,
Here's
oh,
the
I've
thing.
been doing hair for 30 years, so it ain't nothing you can tell me.
Here's the
That
thing.
is not
Here's the
true.
thing. Here's
People
the
can
thing.
tell me stuff all
Every
the
time.
time.
I get that.
New
I get that.
styles
That's
all
not
the
what
time
I'm
that
saying.
I never heard of.
This is what I'm saying. It's like this. It's like when we doing this little thing right here. We didn't know how to do it. So apparently the guys who information that we getting to working, they've experimented with it. They played with it. Now they become an expert at it. That's why they can come and tell you how to do it. They can tell you how to operate it, because I don't know how to operate it. And if nobody knew how to operate it, it probably wouldn't even exist. But they making tutorials to tell you how it works. That means they experience, and the time that they put off into it is giving them the wisdom and the knowledge and the opportunity to pass it on for the people who trying to indulge in it and don't have that information. That's why experience and time is important, because they can tell me. If I need to know something, I'm going to go to YouTube or something like that, because they have people who study that type of stuff over a period of time. Just like our phones. We don't know nothing about our phones, but you got people out there who study that phone and do that phone. They can come tell you to do stuff to your phone that you ain't never knew how to do.
I agree with all that. What I disagree with